it was just the most significant win for me in my career, and I can't think of any other that would be bigger.
Alan, Stu, Doug, and Phil have nothing on Denny Hamlin and his boys out in Vegas this week. It is the day after, a couple days after, and the 60-time winner is here. Denny Hamlin, congratulations, man. Oh, there's so many reasons to say congratulations. I want to know, first of all, how did you celebrate this one? Because I know you hung out in Las Vegas for a little bit. So do we still have someone on the roof like Doug from The Hangover kind of didn't make it back to the East Coast?
um, maybe for a few hours. Maybe for a few hours. Um, yeah, I was so torn in Victory Lane. I knew my friends were gonna ask me, "Are we staying? Are we going home? What are we doing?" And so I'm like, "Okay." I mean, if you can't celebrate this one, you'll never celebrate. So I did. We stayed. I stayed up. I think it was 42 hours straight. So it was. I
What?
I I am just now getting somewhat back to normal.
42 hours? I mean,
Yes,
you're going to remember this one for a long time, buddy.
it was fun. It was fun.
That is awesome. Well, good for you. I know that you said after the win that this one met the expectation for you, like the moment met the expectation. At what point did that expectation hit you? Because you got to stay focused. You know, these things can slip away. You know what is on the line if you win this race. So when did it really hit you?
I when I took the white, truthfully, I mean, I was a mess that entire real last lap. But and then it's whenever I talk, that I get all choked up and stuff because I understand the significance of it, and for me there were just so many factors in this one that
Yeah.
that really were the reason why it meant so much. Obviously, um, you know 60 wins is a goal I set out years ago that I knew that, listen, it was attainable, but I needed to still stay hot even beyond the peak years of my career. I was gonna still have to stay hot and win more than one or two races a year to get there. um, Obviously the side benefits of, okay, now I've won the first race in this round. I get to chill for the next 2 weeks, focus on this one race that will decide a champion. So that part of it, and it's just winning. Now that put me that I'd won the most races in the Cup Series. When Shane tied me, I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna have the most wins of anyone in the series. But now I feel confident we will. So it's just, there's so many side benefits to it, and it was just the most significant win for me in my career, and I can't think of any other that would be bigger.
I was watching you, I think it was Kansas in the drivers' meeting. They played the video of the incident with Ty Gibbs from the week before, and I looked over at you and you were mad. Like I saw emotions come. I'm like, you didn't even want to watch the video. And I can't help but think about all of the things that have happened in these playoffs, right? Like things have just not gone your way. And you just mentioned all that was on the line for this win. Do you think this is the most pressure you felt in a long time to get a
Mm.
victory?
Yeah, certainly. I think it's week in, week out. It's just how the playoffs kind of play out. I think it was like 3 or 4 straight weeks. Like I was part of the main story, even when I wasn't winning. It was like, we finished
Mhm.
12th, but yet we're talking about my incident with Ty, and then I finished second. Chase Elliott won Kansas, by the way. Nobody talks about that. We want to talk about Denny finished second, and how did he finish second? Well, he had to get into the car that he owned. So it just was week in, week out something. And then I was just minding my own business and 18th last week on the last lap, and Ross gets into the back of us. So I'm on quite the streak, as far as that's concerned. But hopefully we can just remain under the radar these next 2 weeks,
Okay,
and
yeah, right.
yeah, and and
Good luck with
and uh,
that.
and not be part of the picture, and let things just play out naturally. And let's go get these guys in Phoenix.
I can probably tell you the one question that you're going to have to answer many, many times over the next couple weeks because you've answered it so many times. 5 seasons, in fact, when you've made the championship four. The last time was in 2021. But I will say this, Denny, like I've known you for a really long time, and the emotions that we've seen from you, you even said it in the media center. You're like, I have feelings too. Because you do such a great job of compartmentalizing, right? Whether it be business or personal stuff or whatever, did the emotions surprise you at all? Like when it hit you and when you shared those with us, what was that like for you?
I mean, not really, because I knew that I know that I'm actually a fairly high emotional person. I don't bring the emotion into work.
You don't.
That's the probably the one difference that it is I never get rattled on the racetrack. It doesn't matter what happens. I kind of understand how things go. I'm able to keep a level head for the most part. Um, and I just feel as though that's a big advantage for me. Now, outside the car, I mean, I I feel as though I'm just like everyone else, and get emotional about things when it comes to family and kids and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I think I was a bit more vulnerable than what I had planned on being, and something that certainly the fans had not seen before.
Yeah, speaking of the fans, I mean, you've played this sort of like villain role and you've embraced it and you got out of the car and like I think I said in a meeting to somebody like I feel like the fans are like, "Okay, this is the guy that we can like. We're seeing a side of him that we've never seen." Are you ready for that? Are you ready for the fans to be like on the Denny Hamlin bandwagon?
Yeah, I mean, I think it to me. I'm okay with whatever they choose, and I've said that many times. And if you want to boo me, I am okay with that. I really am. It does not hurt my feelings at all. If you want to cheer for me, great, even better. Um, what I appreciated from the Las Vegas fans, though, is that they understood that that moment meant a lot to me, and I kind of picture it like when I was younger and I watched Dale Earnhardt win the Daytona 500. I hated Dale Earnhardt. I was a Bill Elliott guy, but I recognized that moment for him and then how significant that moment was for him. And I became a fan of his for that day, for that moment, for that day. I'm like, man, that's awesome that he was
Yeah.
able to, because I clearly knew he was capable. I clearly knew he was good enough. He just got unlucky and didn't win it a bunch of times. He finally got what he deserved. And what I loved about the Las Vegas fans is that they probably, I think I certainly got a lot of boos pre-race. But when I
Mhm.
got out of the car and it was all cheers, I'm like, wow, they're giving me my moment. Like
Yeah.
they understand the significance of it for me, and I was very grateful for that.
Well, I mean, I think you've earned the right to be a champion, right, Denny? Like not only with the career that you've put together, the 60 wins, the amount of times that you've been in the playoffs, the amount of races that you've won this season. So certainly going into that championship four, that is going to be the storyline, right? You've earned the right to have a championship, but we know so many things have to go right in that race. And you and I have talked openly, and you sort of embrace all of the things that have happened in that race to you over the years. Do you look back on those events and the things that have happened and embrace them as part of your journey, or are they frustrating to you still?
Hmm. I think it's a little bit of both. I think there are certainly times where I think I could have done something different. There are
Mhm.
others that are frustrating that I feel like that's all I could have done.
Yeah.
For instance, 2010. I'll give you an example of each. 2010 with Jimmy, it was just the two of us left that had a chance. I had a leg up on him. I should have closed him out at Phoenix. We had a fuel issue. Um, and then to start the race, I started in the back, but I'm one of the fastest cars. I'm coming to the front, and make a mistake. I don't get clear, and I end up wrecking the car in a fashion that just slows it down enough to where I couldn't compete with Jimmy from that point on. That was a weekend I controlled. I controlled that weekend. Others like 2000, I think 19 with Kyle Busch, I'm running him down. Chris Gabehart says, I'm swinging for the fences. I'm going to put a piece of 10-inch tape on your car,
The
and
infamous tape.
it blew the engine up. And it's like,
Oh,
I just, those are ones that I have to live with it. I can't change that. And I feel like at the end of my career, it's been far more of the I'm okay with the result because I did the best I could
hmm.
than it was early in my career, such as 2010, where it's like, man, I had him, I had him right here, and I let him go, and so I just hope that I leave Phoenix knowing that I did the best that I could do. There's nothing I could have done different, and I think I'm still going to be very gratified with whatever result that is.
It is like the growth that I see from Mr. Denny Hamlin is just so incredible. And like, I feel like there's been so much talk about that, right? I mean, somebody asked, I'm going to get this right. Somebody asked in the media center, Coach Gibbs, what has he seen from you that's allowed this kind of growth and success? And he said, I don't know if you heard this, but he said, it's probably one of the biggest changes of anyone that he knows. He said, when you first came in, you would barely talk. And we know that's not the case anymore. But he kind of talked about that growth. And I know that you talked a lot about Chris Gabehart in the media center, kind of being the person that helped you through that. Not only that, you talked about Chris Gabehart, you talked about Joe Gibbs, you talked about JD Gibbs, all these men in your life who have really helped you become the human and the person that you are. I don't know. Like, I don't even know what the question is. I just think it's amazing to see how much you have grown in this sport. Going back to the bus to take a look at things last minute before the race, all of that stuff. Has that been a slow progression? Is it? Do you think you'd be here if you didn't grow?
No, and I think that I do owe I owe I if I ever win a championship, the list of people I need to thank, you might as well just hunker down. Like I've got a long list of people that I think have contributed to
Yeah.
my success, and certainly when Chris Gabehart, to be specific, when he got a hold of me, I'd come off my first winless season of my career and my only winless season in 2018. And yeah, he instilled a work ethic into me. He certainly pushed me to be better. And since then, regardless of who I've been around, that's the person I am. And so I owe that certainly, personally and professionally, that type of growth to Gabehart.
Yeah, I've talked to many football players who played for Coach Gibbs and the leader that he is and the type of human being, the way he leads. I've heard a lot of really incredible
Hmm.
stories about him. Leads with strength, but also with love. And I think that that's really important. And now I know that you are now passing that along to Bubba and to Tyler,
Hmm.
teaching them how to be, quote unquote, be a pro and do things the right way. So I think that's incredible. Your dad, I know that you've spoken openly about this. Tell me about the conversation with him after the win.
Yeah, I got to sit down with him quite and spend quite some time, and we did what we always do. We reminisce, we talk about the racing, we talk about other things that are coming up that are significant. Um, we talk about how he's feeling and stuff, and yeah, it's extremely difficult, right? It's when you kind of see, and I'm at that age where your parents are not as healthy as they once were. Um, and it's hard because I certainly know the sacrifice that him and my mom, gave towards my career, and it just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's I just want him to hang on long enough to see it all the way through.
Do you think he'll be able to make it to Phoenix?
I hope so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so.
All right. Well, you know that we're all praying for you, Denny. And like, I know that's a personal thing that you've opened up for all of us to ask questions about. So I think many of us do appreciate your sort of honesty and your willingness to share that because we are
Mhm.
thinking about you. This is a family, right? We all care very much
Yep.
about you. And when
Yep.
family members go through things, we want to be there for you. So it's much more than just asking questions about it for sure and
Yeah.
writing an article or something.
Understand.
I think that yeah, so what are you going to do the next couple weeks, right? Besides get a little sleep after 42 hours up with your buddies in Las Vegas. How do you really kind of mentally prepare for Phoenix now that you have a couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this entire week that I would normally spend on working on this track coming up, obviously, is Phoenix's. Martinsville, that time will get cut in half. The other half belongs to Phoenix, and then obviously Phoenix week. So I think that my brain is only capable of handling so much.
You're
And
handling
so
a lot more than most people, by
and
the
so
way.
I think this is better for me to focus on just one track versus like, oh my gosh, I got to get through Talladega. Oh my gosh, I got to get through
Yeah.
Martinsville. This is actually a good mental break for me, even though I'm still working. Um, it's a good mental break to only have to focus on one from this point on.
Well, we wish you best of luck the next couple weeks, and of course in Phoenix. And I know I've said this 5 times. I better have an invite to the party if you do win this championship. So
You will.
all the best, Denny. Thanks for joining us. Really don't have a best day ever today because it is a couple days into the week. We're closer to Talladega than obviously we were to Vegas, but really appreciate Denny Hamlin's time. I know that despite the fact that he doesn't have to worry about the next couple weeks, he has a lot on his plate. So making time for some interviews because I know the fans definitely want to hear from him. My favorite race of the season coming up this weekend, Talladega. When I used to be on the road every single weekend at ESPN, this was the race that I looked forward to going to every single season. There is something about Talladega in the fall with that huge American flag blowing when you pull up to the racetrack. The temperatures are great. I love this racetrack. There's going to be so much on the line for drivers and for teams, and I think it's going to be a really exciting one. I cannot wait to sit back on Sunday, grab some snacks and some beverages, and watch this baby play out.